Plant-based meat is slowly taking over the market with an $8 billion market share in America alone. But what if he told you that plant-based meat is actually an $8 billion lie? In this video, we'll be discussing every reason why plant-based meat is scamming you out of your own money. Stick around until the end of the video to find out the telltale signs of a scam and all the other more wholesome ways to steer clear of meat. Plant-based history. Plant-based food isn't just a recent thing. In fact, it goes back thousands of years all the way back to ancient civilizations, where fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, and nuts were all so abundant. Some historical figures have even been known to practice vegetarianism due to their beliefs or personal philosophies. However, it was in the early 20th century that veganism emerged as a distinct dietary practice. Veganism was the practice of excluding not only animal meat, but also any animal byproduct. And yes, that includes dairy products, eggs, and a whole lot more. But of course, as natural omnivores, our body has to want meat at some point. That's why throughout the 20th century, pioneers in the food industry developed plant-based meat substitutes like tempeh, tofu, and textured vegetable protein, or TVP. These soy-based alternatives laid the foundation for future advancements in plant-based food. In recent decades, the plant-based movement has gained momentum. Concerns about environmental sustainability, animal welfare, and personal health have driven the development of meat substitutes. Companies like Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods have led the way in creating plant-based burgers and other substitutes that closely resemble traditional meat products. Fast food chains, restaurants, and supermarkets now offer a wide array of plant-based options to cater to the growing demand. Plant-based food's significance in the global food landscape will undoubtedly continue to grow. But what if this wasn't the solution we've been looking for all along? Less meat, all the additives. Vegetables are undoubtedly healthy for you. That's what we've been taught our entire lives, and it remains true. That is, until you dilute it with harmful chemicals. Plants and vegetables are, by nature, meant to taste like plants and vegetables. For plants and vegetables to become viable substitutes to meat products, they have to undergo excessive processing to get that same meaty taste that we've come to know and love beef, chicken, and pork for. Manufacturers use various techniques to isolate and extract proteins from sources like soy, peas, or wheat. One such protein found in soybeans is called soy leg hemoglobin, a special protein that gives these vegetable products their meaty flavor. These proteins are then combined with other ingredients, such as oils, flavorings, stabilizers, and preservatives to create a meat-like product. The result is a highly processed food that may contain a long list of additives that you wouldn't be consuming if you were eating actual meat. Although the taste is passable, it's nowhere near the actual thing in both taste and nutrition. Excessive processing can lead to nutritional drawbacks. Some plant-based meats may be high in sodium, saturated fats, and calories, potentially negating the health benefits associated with a plant-based diet. Additionally, the processing may strip away essential nutrients and fiber present in whole plant foods. Not only should plant-based meats taste the part, they should also look the part. Plant-based meat goes through additional processing to mimic the meaty exterior and texture of actual meat, and they do this by introducing artificial dyes. One such dye, the red No. 3 dye, is currently under contention to be banned due to their harmful health effects. This over-processing can lead to long-term health problems such as high blood pressure, obesity, heart disease, and even cancer. So the next time you go out grocery shopping for a healthier lifestyle, maybe skip the plant-based meat and eat pure vegetables instead. But personal health isn't the only scam that food companies are peddling these days. E-cow system. One of the biggest reasons to make the switch to plant-based meat is the benefit that it has on the environment. Many theorize that switching to plant-based meat can help the environment by reducing greenhouse emissions and water pollution produced from live cattle farms, as well as overall animal welfare. Reducing the need to kill animals for their meat has to be a good thing. thing, right? Well, it technically is a good thing. But the loss of our livestock's natural predators, aka us, would result in a huge ecosystem shift that would lead to a long period of restabilization that we may never get out of. Humans are at the top of the food chain, above any other of nature's natural predators. If humans were to suddenly opt out of the food chain altogether, the animal population might end up being too hard to control. Another environmental con that plant-based meat imposes is the processing involved in extracting the soy proteins needed. This process can require energy-intensive methods, chemical treatments, and industrial-scale production, contributing to carbon emissions and environmental pollution. Additionally, the use of various additives and preservatives in these products raises questions about their overall sustainability. Water usage is another important environmental consideration. While plant-based meat generally requires less water than raising livestock, large-scale irrigation for crop cultivation can still contribute to water stress in some regions. And when you need water to grow your plants, you also need the space. With the growing competition and demand for plant-based meat, fields and factories need to be established to provide the sourcing of raw materials for plant-based meat. The increasing demand for crops used in these products, such as soy and peas, may lead to large-scale monoculture and agricultural intensification. This can result in deforestation, habitat loss, soil degradation, and the use of fertilizers and pesticides, which can harm biodiversity and water quality. But what exactly happens when the demand gets too much? Well, the bigger companies know exactly where to turn to: genetically modified soy. Genetically modified organisms, GMOs for short, are a common solution to most production problems, especially when it comes to livestock or natural ingredients. One of the most infamous cases of GMOs would be the case of cows genetically modified to produce more milk. This was successful at first, but then eventually led to milk containing trace amounts of pus, enough to be considered harmful for consumption and discontinued altogether. Although the FDA legally allows the production and use of GMO soybeans and plant-based meat, who's to say we won't end up with pus in our soybeans at some point? These soybeans are genetically engineered to possess specific traits, such as resistance to pests, herbicides, or environmental stressors. While they offer various benefits, they also evoke considerable debate and controversy. Genetic modifications allow soybean plants to produce toxins harmful to certain pests, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. That's right, that soy nugget you may be putting in your mouth might just have enough natural pesticide to steer away even the hungriest housefly. While regulatory agencies have approved the commercialization of GMO crops, some argue that the long-term health effects of consuming genetically modified foods are still uncertain. While the long-term effects of GMOs are still up for contention, we highly advise you to steer clear of any plant-based products promising an overall healthier lifestyle. Most brands have done their part to combat this, labeling their products with a non-GMO sticker to ensure that their products are fresh. And although the FDA's strict guidelines make sure not everyone can slap the non-GMO sticker on their product and call it a day, there isn't anything stopping big plant-based meat companies from slapping an overpriced price tag on there. Piggy bank. If there's one thing plant-based meat is known for that doesn't involve taste, looks, or texture, it has to be the shocking price points. Studies have shown that plant-based meat brands can be twice as expensive as beef, thrice as expensive as pork, and even 4 times as expensive as natural chicken. Who said our healthcare system wasn't the only scam? For something that's trotted to be inexpensive, accessible, and a readily available choice to vegan and vegetarian consumers alike, this is turning out to be one of the most expensive food items there is on the market. And it's all because of a few things: research funding, scale, and processing. Although plant-based meat is everywhere nowadays, it still has not gotten to its fullest potential. There are many processes and ingredients that need to be improved for the product to be viable. Companies invest in creating new formulas, optimizing taste and texture, and sourcing high-quality ingredients. These upfront costs are reflected in the final product price. And although plant-based meat is a market worth $8 billion in America alone, this is still just a small fraction of the market that livestock has. The excessive processing also reflects in the final price of plant-based meat, involving multiple steps such as extraction, refining, and processing of plant proteins and other components. So the next time you're out looking for any plant-based meat substitutes for your diet, maybe skip on the corn and go for the corn instead.